Good morning, biology students working at home. Mr. Adair here, and I'm going to go through a quick mini lesson on human impact on Earth because we are finishing up the ecology unit. And although this schedule has been quite modified due to distance learning and in-person learning and the short schedule and everything else, we thought it would be worth talking about some of these issues because they're very important. Now, if you really are interested in environmental science and how humans are influencing the environment, you should take my AP Environmental Science course your junior or senior year after you take accelerated chemistry. There's also a general environmental science elective class you could take as well. So, how many people can the Earth support? That's a question scientists don't really have a great answer on because there's a lot of variables that play a role into it, including technology, how much harm we do to the environment. So the carrying capacity of the Earth is kind of unknown at this point. Some people say we've already gone past it. Some people say, 15 billion people might be the carrying capacity of Earth. Right now, we're approaching 8 billion people. Who knows? Other scientists say less, 10 billion. They're all over the place a little bit. But let's look at some factors. First of all, how did we get so big? I like this image a lot. It shows planet Earth at night, and you can see the lights from all of the developed countries and the bigger cities. And you see the United States and Europe, as well as Japan and some of India and some of those South American cities are really, really bright, which is kind of an indicator of where some of the more populated or densely populated areas are on Earth, I should say. Okay, well, here are some 3 reasons why the population of humans have increased so much in the last 200 years. Hint, you may have to recall these for the exam. So one of the very first reasons why we have increased in our population size so much the last 200 years, we're growing exponentially, if you remember that word, is because we have expanded into almost all of the different climate zones. If you think about it, we have cities in the driest parts of the deserts where we bring in water and use air conditioners to keep us cool. We also have cities in the coldest climates, some of the coldest climates on Earth, where we use energy to keep us warm. So we've used technology to live pretty much everywhere, not 100% everywhere, but most places. In addition, we have um, modernized agriculture in many different ways, including genetically, including technology with the machinery, including manufacturing fertilizers from the raw ingredients of nitrogen and things like that. So we are able to create a lot of food in a smaller amount of space for a lot of people, which has allowed us to increase in population size. Then the third main reason are death rates have dropped sharply in the last 200 years and previous to these last 200 years, and they're continuing to drop because of medicine and technology and just more knowledge about the human body. And this kind of goes hand in hand with improved sanitation and healthcare, including antibiotics and vaccines. So vaccines, that's a key one we're talking about right now, saving lives as we speak. Okay, so let's look at, we just talked about some reasons why the human population has increased so much. Now let's talk about how, because of the human population increasing and because of many other reasons, how and when and have we already reached our carrying capacity? So the next few slides are going to talk about how humans are impacting the Earth. Because as you know, we are interconnected on planet Earth. That image of, you've probably seen it in a movie or something, planet Earth taken from the moon. It's a small little blue ball floating in space in the universe, and it really makes it look delicate. Now, when you look outside your window, you see, trees and vast amounts of space and buildings. It doesn't look so delicate, but in reality, it is a very delicate system, and it is really, when you think about it, because we are so interconnected, the health of the planet is the health of us, and the health of us is the health of the planet. It goes hand in hand. Okay, this acronym I kind of want you to be familiar with. The acronym is HIPCO, HIPPCO. It stands for the major ways that humans are kind of damaging planet Earth. The first one, H, stands for habitat destruction. I stands for invasive species. P, pollution. The other P, population growth. C, climate change. And O, overexploitation of resources. We're just going to dig a little bit into each of these ones and then have you think about the carrying capacity question one more time, but we'll keep this pretty quick. Habitat destruction. What this means is humans destroying natural habitats. And this example is the Canadian tar sands in Alberta. And this normally, you can see this whole land area is completely devastated. In this example, there are many examples of habitat destruction, including the rainforest destruction, including building parking lots in cities and small towns. We're doing habitat destruction in many, 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 many ways, including in the ocean. So, but this specific example, the Canadian tar sands, is a very extreme example because what they do is the Canadian tar sands holds this like oily material in like a layer of sand, and in order to extract it to get the more pure oil, they really have to clear everything out, including all the trees that were there before. I wish I should have had a before and after picture. I did not do that, but this is normally a boreal forest, which is kind of the type of forest you see in northern Minnesota, and this example just shows that it's completely cleared out. It's absolutely looks like a vision of an apocalyptic future because there is nothing living in this area after they're done with this. So habitat destruction, huge problem. Humans are the culprit. Now, invasive species. How are humans involved with invasive species? The I stands for invasive species. Invasive species are species of organisms that don't belong where they ended up. And this example is zebra mussels, which we find in the Great Lakes in North America, and they normally are not native to this area. They don't belong there. So what they do is kill a lot of different organisms, and they don't have a natural predator. So they can populate exponentially and take over ecosystems. Now, how does this relate to humans? Well, you can pause and think about it and come up with your own answer if you'd like. But we now live in an interconnected globalization, global world where boats and ships and airplanes go from point A to point B all over the globe. So sometimes animals hop aboard on purpose or accidentally and get transferred from point A to point B. And that's how we end up with invasive species, which when I said everything is interconnected, it truly is, because maybe you can think to yourself, well, how do invasive species destroy habitats, which habitat destruction was our previous one, right? All right, next up, pollution. This is just, we pollute the earth in so many ways, including putting plastic in oceans. The images here on the left is a copper nickel mine that leaked into a waterway, destroying the waterway. In fact, I put a link on here, savetheboundarywaters.org. They're anticipating putting a copper nickel mine near the boundary waters called the Twin Metals Copper Mine. It still needs to go through some permitting processes, but if you want to do one thing today, one difference, go to that website and sign the petition to stop a potential polluting disaster. So humans, we're doing this with the exhaust from our cars. We're doing this in all sorts of ways. All right, the other P, population growth, kind of goes into this whole conversation. The Earth has a lot of humans on it, and we're increasing, which makes things, which destroys more habitat, which also can lead to more invasive species in indirect ways, and also pollution totally. So interconnected concepts. All right, climate change. Now, you've heard this term a lot. Climate change is a big reason why, probably in my mind, the biggest reason the biggest thing we need to be concerned about, because the mechanisms that control this process, once they kind of get going, they're very hard to reverse. And that's kind of what we're looking at right now. Very simply, by humans burning carbon through like burning gasoline, burning oil, releasing methane through like propane and natural gas, it creates a layer of greenhouse gases in our atmosphere. Greenhouse gases are like carbon dioxide, hint that might be on the test. Also, methane, CH4, another major greenhouse gas. And this whole idea of climate change is totally related to overpopulation of humans, what we eat, how we get our energy, how we do transportation. So by creating this layer of gases in the atmosphere, it traps the sun's energy and slowly warms the earth. And we've been doing this since the Industrial Revolution. So we've been doing it for a long time. And now the earth is really seeing the effects of that increased temperature. Okay, you can pause the video here, look at this climate change map, and what I want you to look at is that gray line is going to be global average temperature, and the blue and red line is going to show, hold on one second, did I do that right? I don't have this labeled. I'm sorry, the blue and red shows the global average temperature, and the gray line shows the concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So as you see the CO2 increasing since like the Industrial Revolution in the 1800s, you also see temperature increasing, and that trend is continuing, and we should be alarmed. Then the last one, O for overexploitation of resources. This means we're taking too much stuff, precious metals, cutting down timber, just resources in general, we're really pushing to the extremes. Okay, so this was a very quick crash course on major environmental issues. I want you to pause here and think about how are the factors in HIPCO related to the carrying capacity of living organisms, including humans. And maybe think about that interconnectedness that we share. Okay, I'm going to stop the video here. And what you need to do is just watch this video, study it, because some of these concepts may show up on your exam on Monday. Thanks a lot. Bye.